Going around. So the journey and the discussion revolves around, we say Aham Brahmasmi. So what does it mean? Again, the question comes, who we are. We look from quantum perspective. Whatever we do, why we do, how does it impact us? So in the same, you can say, chain of topics, today we will be talking about atom and cell. Now this one, the reason this is so important, we will see is the work of Dr. Kothari. So I will start sharing my screen and we will see that how what we know today is known to us for a long time. So I hope you all can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So getting into atom and self and what exactly it means, how it is related to quantum physics or quantum basis that we are trying to understand, meditation, spirituality, everything. And it's coming from thousands of years of our wisdom, Upanishad, which were written a long time back. And when we talk of quantum physics, epigenetics, things like those, it's not something that the science has just discovered. Our saints, they knew about it. And not just Indian culture, but if you see the Chinese or Egyptian culture, you may find very similar situation where they knew a lot more than probably what we know today. So the work, this particular atom and self, this is the work of Dr. Kothari. And Dr. Kothari, and some of you may have heard or known him or may not have heard at all. He had received Padam Bhushan and Padam Vibhushan. And Dr. Kothari's work is amazing. That at that time, and we are talking about, between 1940 to 1970 era. And he was the chairman of first Indian Education Commission in 1964-66 era. And you can imagine, like, he was heavily involved in upliftment, whether it's education, modernization, all those things. And his work, and this is specific one, atom and cell, is also quoted by many Western authors. Now, what is specific in this presentation of his, we'll go through, we will try to understand, and you will see what we talk about today. He was talking about in 1950s, right? So the era of 50s, 60s, and this is something which will connect us with meditation, with what we are trying to do, whether we talk of any tools, visualization, affirmation, we talk of how to enhance our meditative experience, and you will see the connectivity. So there is, no profound problem or more fundamental and puzzling thing than the interaction between atom and cell. Now, what did he mean by atom and self? We will see that. And this is not a question today that sometimes we say, oh, we generally go back to science and try to find an answer. This interaction between atom and cell is really a question which has been there, especially with the modern science. Because before, when Gurukuls were there, it was word of mouth and no questions asked. But now this confusion is more and more. So it's more important for us to understand it. so that we can make our life simple and we can understand what meditation is, what pranayama is, how it's impact us. So it's also known as brain, mind, and body soul. Now, brain, mind, and body soul, these are the terms that again kind of sometimes confuses us. Dr. Kothari, he is referred from Upanishad, Gita, all those literature which are again thousands of years old, and he's taking reference from them. That means if it is mentioned there and explained there, so you can imagine this information is nothing new, as we sometimes think that science has come up with something new. So even in 1950s, based on the interest in quantum mechanics, so even at that time, quantum mechanics at that time was a topic of interest. Quantum physics, yes, the interest or the research came a little later, but the term quantum mechanics certainly was there. And the question which came at that time itself was, who are we? So imagine if he was talking with respect to that, because he was a physicist himself. So being in science, because sometimes, that's the first thing you do is the people in the scientific community, they may not share the beliefs of spiritual world, and spiritual people, may have conflict with the science. But here we see a very good balance. And the way he puts it that this is not one of the tasks, but the task of science, the only one really which counts. And this is, to talk about, to solve this atom and self interaction. So really we get down to the question, which is, who am I? Individually, this becomes the most important question. And in today's world, I mean, if you compare with 1950s and imagine now, you will see a huge difference in stress, the lifestyle and whatnot. He was talking it in that era. And now this is really much bigger question today. Who am I? And not only in, you will think that it's age related or no, even in youth, it's a very valid question that they are trying to figure out. Who am I? That's what, when we do in meditation, we are trying to discover ourselves. We are trying to find the answer, or you can say we are trying to discover ourselves. We are trying to find the truth, and we say, okay, what is the abode of truth? Where is it? Where does it reside? Is the truth residing in space-time, or it is outside both space and time? So is it inside or outside? Now, before we get down to answer this about truth, which is a key topic when it comes to spirituality, let's look at the electron. We all know electron is the smallest unit when we talk about any matter. Of course, there are subatomic particles. So within electron, you will have, or nucleus and all. We will not go into that, but typically we say atom is in smallest unit, and then atom you will have, proton, electron, and neutron. So electron belongs to the external world. Electron is physical, it's matter. Whereas when we are talking, who am I? Now we are talking about internal, means internal to us. Now, even then it was very clear that if we ignore self, which is internally, means what you feel, your soul, yourself, will only bring disaster. That means at that time, in his technical papers and all, he was writing that if we only go with respect to matter, atom, what he's referring by atom is matter, it will bring disaster. Why? Because you are losing the self, which is who we are. And that's what he kept on working and explaining. Now, if we really look at the foundation of relativity or quantum theory, these theory actually provide a very good support and appreciation of our Indian spirituality. Whether you look at, Vedas, Upanishad, sometimes, if we look from scientific point of view, we say, how is it possible? What does it mean? Or, but really relativity and quantum theory, when we really see, it actually proves our literature. Because these concepts may not be in the same terminology, but explained in those literature. So when we are doing meditation, we are trying to understand, okay, I'm sitting with my eyes closed, or when we do pranayama, we are managing our just breath. How is it doing these wonderful, unimaginary things? So it's important to understand how it functions so that we can have trust and we follow it. So it's important to understand this external and internal a little more. So, yes, these are two critical things, external and internal world. There is a duality and there is an interaction. And this interaction is what he explained as the most important thing. We cannot ignore one side completely in the name of science. And this is 70 years ago, and we are still struggling to understand this. External world is referring to atom. Atom means matter. External world means our body, which is physical. Your brain, physical, is matter. You can feel it, you can touch it. Internal world is referring to self, your mind, your psyche. You can refer it as I, self, you can say soul, spirit, mind, whichever way. They're all part of internal world. We say materialistic world. Again, materialistic world is part of external world. We understand external very well. You have electron microscope, you have all kind of technology to have better understanding of external world. The issue is, or the real question is, do we really understand our internal world? And this is a question as a challenge which keeps coming in front of us when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about, all these things, whether straight meditation, pranayama, or simple as affirmation, visualization. We wonder how it works. Because internal world is linked to your thoughts. And if it is linked to your thoughts, we know like it's linked to the feeling. And if it is linked to the feeling, it's linked to your emotions. Whatever the emotions, pleasure, pain. Hence, it is linked to your purpose, your goal. So really $1 million question comes, is the matter above mind or mind above matter? You have the duality. You have two things. And first thing comes to our mind is, okay, so who's supreme? Matter or mind? How to identify and how to really clarify it. Now, again, then we go back to Upanishad documents, which were, written thousands of years ago. And it clearly tells us everything that exists is either Chetan or for the Chetan. You must have heard Chetna, mind, awareness. Sometime we may come across these literature and all, but sometimes we may not understand. They are really deep. So to fully understand this, one has to go beyond physics. Now, you may understand why we keep talking about quantum physics. We just talked about quantum mechanics. Because really to understand when it comes to the self part, Newtonian physics cannot explain everything. It has huge limitation because it is more towards matter side. To understand the self or internal side, we have to take help of quantum physics. Now, when we say we want to go beyond physics, that does not mean we are anti-science or anti-physics, or we want to contradict physics or science in general. No. Beyond physics does not mean we are against the whole scientific community or scientific research and everything. Now, atom or brain, they are part of physical world, tangible matter, so they are part of external. Now, the objective world, space-time and matter-energy concept. That is the world where we have this, atom, brain, or matter. That's where it belongs. It's subjective, and we talked about when we were doing quantum physics, the space-time, time-space concept. So this space-time or matter-energy, because it's convertible. Cell or the mind. So far we talked about atom and brain. So if you're talking about self or mind, it's internal, subjective world, highly subjective. You cannot describe self or mind with respect to time, space, or the matter energy concept. You can explain atom or matter, but you cannot explain self, which is mind. Because self or mind, it lies outside the natural science. Now, again, these things you can imagine is coming from 1940, 70, that era. That much clarity in Dr. Kothari's work was there at that time. It's just that this work did not reach the masses in the exact terminology that now we understand through some of the Western authors or scientists, and we think that is something new. Now, just to comprehend this idea, this concept, of brain and mind thing, this interaction, is just mind-boggling. It becomes a riddle of riddles. People get mixed up, people get confused, people get, now the faith, religion, they bring a lot of things in between. And then the discussion from a simple topic can go to any extent. Now, let's understand a key feature when we say atom and cell, and what connects, or what are the commonalities, what is the common ground. Doesn't matter if we do meditation or what, we are connecting the two, external and internal. In human form, we are every day, every moment engaged with the external. We are trying to connect to the internal. That is our target when we do meditation. You are trying to connect to yourself. So let's understand one key thing, which is same for both the worlds. Let's look at matter, atom. Atom from a state, and any state will have a particular energy level. When atom goes from one state to another, right, electrons are revolving, and it changes from one state to the other. This actual process of change in the state, you cannot see, you cannot visualize. You will see whether you're studying electron, atom, let's consider it same, this energy level, and then you will see a different energy level. There is no intermediate stage. You cannot visualize. You can keep staring at the atom, of course, with electron microscope and things like those. So this jump is called quantum jump. It's not like we can see it like a straight line going from 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3, 1.4. You will see from 1 to 2. Now let's talk about self. And the first thing we talked about self was thoughts. And of course, when we talk of meditation, we are talking about thoughts, because the whole concept and the whole world revolves around thought when we are in meditation, right? So what happens? If you really pay attention, say you are stuck with a thought, and then what will happen? You may come out of it, and all of a sudden you'll realize you are stuck with another thought. Then the mind goes from second to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. And if you pay attention, you can see that you cannot visualize. It's a discontinuous jump. That means it just goes suddenly, boom, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4, and then 3 to 4, 4 to 5, like that. It does not go like 1.1, 1.2 like this, from 1 to 2. All of a sudden, boom. It's a quantum jump. So what it tells us? This quantum jump is necessary, whether it is atom or cell. And this is what connects us. This is our connection point with matter. So it is not that this world is totally separate from this world. Whether we say atom or cell, there is a link. And where the link has come from? Universe, from nature. We didn't create this. We didn't plan or do anything. We just understood it, that this is how things happen in nature. Whether it is atom changing stages or our thoughts going from one to the other. It's a quantum jump. Now, the question comes, why do we do meditation, or what are we trying? We are trying to raise our energy level. We are trying to know ourselves. And we are trying to live happy and healthy. We are trying to reach a stage where we can say, yes, this is my purpose of life, and this is what I'm doing. I've achieved it. So the question is, how is it that we understand each other? No, it's not a question of just you and me. I'm talking about the whole universe, the nature. You have animal kingdom, plant kingdom. Of course, we are here, and we connect with each other. How does that happen? And again, if you go to Vedanta, same thing, we just talked about Upanishad, right? It explains there are not many minds, but only one mind. As individuals, we think I'm smart, I have most brain, and all kind of things. But when it comes to the universe, thousands of years ago, this is explained in our literature, that there are not many, but there is one mind. So the question is, we keep talking in spirituality about nirvana. We keep talking about soul plan, purpose of life. We are trying to reach mukti, liberation, all those kind of things. What is the fundamental, basic target, desire? Towards that. So fundamental thing is, as human, we have heart, we have brain, we have desire. We have, our indriyas, senses. We say sometimes is our most challenging things to manage. We are trying to control, which we should not. Yeah, manage maybe, don't try to control. Manage, yes. That's, in my mind, is what we may do. So you have desire, fine. And that's where the problem is coming. So it's not fine. So then what are we doing when we sit in meditation and all? What we are trying to do, or we expect to reach a state where we are kind of detaching. That is a way. Doesn't matter you have desires. As human, we all have. The idea is to detach. Sorry. Slowly and slowly, as we detach, we reach a stage towards immortality. We all want to be immortal. Again, it's not like just we think of, oh yeah, and then we reach the immortal stage. No. Similarly, when you are achieving this detachment, because this is first, without detachment, you will have lots of thoughts, a lot of roadblocks in your meditation or spirituality. So detachment is number one. You start slowly. Not that we are not talking about leaving the family life, and just getting into spirituality full time. No, this what we are discussing is for family setting. We just want to stay healthy and happy. So if you want to reach a good stage where you are really in blissful stage, most of the time, that's what we say, it can only be possible when you reach that immortal stage. But no, just start working on detachment. And yes, transcendental experiences. That certainly goes beyond science. Because as you practice more and more detachment, you will have better connectivity with yourself. You will have better whole experience of who you are, the energy inside you, the power, and the transcendental experience. When we say it's beyond science, does not mean that it is anti-science. We are not saying we are contradicting science. Again, here is the duality, here is the concept that we all have to understand. But to reach that stage, detachment is very important. So after this, if we look at kind of, again, a very important thing, we are saying that literature explains this, literature explains that. And the reason we are talking about it, because if we understand, we develop faith. If we develop faith, we will trust and will either use it or respect it. So these thousands of years old, our literature, it says clearly, again, going back to the same set of document literature we are talking about. It says supreme whole, which is Ishwar, the way it is explained, supreme whole, is such that it remains whole. Even if you take whole out of it or add whole to it. That's how the Ishwar is explained. Now, I know in the scientific kind of era, we say, what does it mean, or explain, or prove? But let's look at the mathematical infinity theory, the whole concept, theory of relativity. It says, whatever velocity we add or subtract from the light velocity, it remains unchanged. So you see, sometimes when science explains things, what's there in our literature, we tend to believe. But the point here is the similarity. The point here is to understand, which will help in your meditative experience, in your spiritual journey, and achieving a good meditative experience, because that's all we all trying. But let's understand the concept, where it is coming. Of course, we all sit with eyes closed and try to work with our thoughts. But it's so important to understand the duality. And this is what is explained and so beautifully. And this is again going 70 years ago. Sometimes we don't even know these masters that we had in India. So friends, we will continue next week on this. We will get into more details of this beautiful work. That was from Dr. Kothari. And you will see how you can use this in your day-to-day sessions, meditative experience, your own journey to find yourself, to answer this question, who I am. Not just relying on somebody says epigenetics or quantum physics and all. If you read these literature, of course, you will know it, but the point is to understand. And the way Dr. Kothari has explained is very simplistic and very beautifully explained. And this is, the paper was titled Atom and Cell. And I find so simply, it explains using quantum mechanics, similarity, duality. We understand we are not trying to go away from matter. No, that's not the point. If we sit in meditation and we think we have to go away from matter, you will have challenges. If you think we will be with the matter, we cannot be with self, again, challenge. So we have to accept the duality. We have to accept the interaction between the two and then work on our meditation. How? Detachment, very important. Understand the self, the mind, the thought element. And next week, you will see more details coming on this, which will help you in getting more and more clarity or how to work on your meditation or spiritual experience. So masters, thank you. And for any question or if there is any sharing on the topic we did today, please feel free to raise your hand before we get into meditation. Let's see. And I see a question in the chat. If it's the same Kothari as the Kothari Commission, absolutely. He's the same Dr. Kothari. That was the very first Kothari Commission. So absolutely.
Masters, anyone wants to ask a question or a clarification, yeah, please raise your hand. Yeah, Dinesh Sanghvi sir, you are unmuted.
Namaskar. This wonderfully explained whole thing, Garu sir. I have a question regarding when we are talking about the electron is the outer world or outer. So then what is the role here of proton and neutron? It is also as a matter, correct? Energy and matter.
Correct. So whether electron or if we talk about proton or nucleus, they are basically same thing. We are talking about electron because of the change of the state. It's easy to talk with respect to electron, but otherwise, if you're taking atom as a whole, same thing. It is part of external, not internal.
Outer side of the nucleus.
Electron is outer side of nucleus, but what it means here is if we talk about atom, which is reflection or representation of matter.
Matter, in other word, is a world, our surrounding world, right?
Yes, external to our self. You know, the body and outside of the body, we say external world, our environment.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So that is matter, and matter will be always slower in, like when we say our affirmation, visualization. So why we work with energy is because energies work much faster than matter.
Mhm.
That is the reason. About self, which is our thoughts and all those things that we explain, which is our inner world. That is
Correct.
self, and that's really what we are trying to work when we do meditation or visualization affirmation, because that is extremely fast. The results comes very fast.
Mhm.
That is the concept of what we talked about.
Right, right. Thank you.
Welcome, Dinesh.
Gauraji, namaskar.
Namaskar, Upenji. Namaskar.
In this context, there is also antimatter, right? So how does that play in this? It's a very complicated theory, very nicely explained. So how do you see antimatter in this? Is there a matter antimatter? Does it belong here?
See, antimatter is something. Now, whether it belongs here is a good question, because basically now we are getting into the subatomic particles. Now, here, what we are taking anything under matter. So it doesn't matter it is complete atom, or if we just refer as electron, or subatomic particles. So up to that level, keeping it simple, we say it is matter. But beyond that, it can become very complex. So this is the level where I'm leaving it as. But anything, when we get to our thoughts level, that is a separation from matter to, you can say, our mind or self.
Okay. Yeah, I know it gets really complicated. Yeah, so understanding this concept you explain so well, it's just trying to digest that, synthesize that takes a lot of time. Yeah, thank you.
Very welcome, sir.
Okay, Gauravji, you wanted to, oh, okay. Yeah, Jaspreet madam, you are unmuted.
Good morning,
Yes,
sir. Yeah. So I was just wondering, like, we have been, Kothari Commission has been the kind of a Bible of the, basis of the entire education system in the 1950s and 60s, right?
yes.
So why this topic was not even given any reference in any of our curriculum, which we have been following blindly till now, just churning out workers after workers who are just going to do education like schooling and then graduation, then getting into jobs and not knowing anything about the practical life, especially when it is from our own literature, it's from our books and everything. It could have been easily given some place in our curriculum. So now we are struggling to introduce it to children, to the youngsters, to ourselves, in fact, first of all, and then trying to take it to the others. I mean, this popped up in my head that we've read so much about Kothari Commission and how our entire system was laid down, and we are still, in fact, though we are struggling, NEP has come in, National Education Policy has been changed this year, but still there is no space for I mean, amalgamating both spirituality with, I don't want to use this word spirituality because I'm talking about children, but at least the real life sciences, I could say. It has not been in, we could have at least introduced one verse from the Bhagavad Gita in every book, for example, in the NCRT books, and then related to life or something. I mean, even in the Bhagavad Gita, there is one, a verse where all the three gunas, the tamas, rajas, and sattva, has been compared to electron, neutron, and proton. I heard one Osho's podcast also that he also relates it, together. So we could touch it, easily. Like he could have at that time. It's a very juvenile kind of a question, but it just came up. Because see, now it has no place anywhere when I talk to children about I'm a biology teacher. So when I tell them about genetics, I actually want to explain a little more about Bruce Lipton to them, which I do. But then they cannot really incorporate it in their curriculum because they are not going to get marks for it if they write something, if they, challenge genetics in the examination. So
Absolutely. See, you have a very good question. And again, the answer is somewhat similar to your previous question in one of the other session you had asked. And the answer is that it is a system. One person, doesn't matter who you are, sometimes gets limited by the system. That is the long story short. That means I may be able to, I may have capability, I may have knowledge, but my system limits me what I can say. In this case, the commission we are talking about, or what, end result would be. Now, not only that, imagine even at that, forget about that time, even now, you imagine the influence of the Western world. Even in Western world, if we say the science is advanced in Western, they're not teaching this because it is against business. If they teach this, all the hospitals will be empty. They will be waiting for patients.
Yes, sir. I do understand, sir. I've got my schooling from a Roman Catholic, right? Where we had a period on moral science where they used to give us pamphlets from the Bible in school. It was a minority school, so obviously I mean, the convent was there within the school premises, so we were doing that. But now in a public school, I have a lot of challenges even if I touch anything from our own any of our scriptures. If I touch anything, there's going to be a lot of yes, this is the problem. So whenever I guide children in meditation, I'm so careful about the language I'm using. It has not, I keep repeating, it has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with religion because I'm so scared. There are 3,000 children. So any parent troublemaker parents, they come in groups and they can just kind of, create a chaos. But that all said and done, we can just teach what the children can see and feel and, in science especially. Anything which goes beyond that is still challenged. So this is I wish. Yeah. So now we have more of Kotharis. So I think somebody can get up and do something now. And I would really love to be a part of a team who is working in bringing the real science to children also. So on my own level, I'm trying to do a lot. I tell them this is for but not for the examination in the board. So don't go and challenge what you have studied till now. But that's really sad. We are confusing them even more.
See, and that's the reason of this session, and that is the reason I picked this topic, because this one way we can spread the awareness. We cannot do it in the school setting because it is public school or private. Again, everybody has their rules, laws, guidelines. But these
Yeah.
sessions, these are free. We can promote because, you know, it is not specific to religion or anything. Here, we can easily spread the wisdom. And that is the reason of picking such, so that we know, we keep talking about Western authors and everything. I mean, there is a lot, not that I'm saying we should not, obviously we should. The whole thing is we should
No, sir. In fact, it's because of the
see the
Western authors I'm
connectivity of
still able to do
everywhere, right? Whether it's
something.
our literature,
Yeah.
Western, Eastern,
Yeah.
doesn't matter where. But yeah, these are the forums we
Mhm.
can easily promote.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, it's because of the Western authors, because they're doctors, Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza. When I touch that, then people do get interested to understand what I'm talking about. But if we just stick to our own scriptures, it is still not taken in that way, the way it should be. But it's very surprising because when it comes to religion, everybody becomes a fanatic, about religion. But then living it, trying to take out the science out of our religion and our scriptures, there they become little skeptical. Somehow I'm trying to find answers there, sir. Still, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Namaskar, Parameshwaram sir. How are you?
Namaste, Gaurav-ji.
Namaskar.
Sorry. Thank you very much for bringing this topic, which in my own way, I was also trying from the last, and I joined the spiritual tablets. Same thing. Look to our ancient wisdom. So you have put it in the right way. You made the good beginning. Last week, Srini sir was asking, what next? So you have chosen the right one. This is very much needed now to just where you answered it. The system is like that. We can't do anything. What we can do, only we can do, right? So here what we can do is this collective mind, 30 plus whatever, 50 or 100, we are changing it. So that itself is a great job which you have taken up. So definitely collective consciousness will change like that only if each one can do something. That is what you are doing. So you have started the right way. Thank you very much. As Patanjali said, what is thought you have started. Thought is, mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts, conglomeration of thoughts. So we are going back to that. So you are bringing it more scientifically so that people can, yes, get convinced the rational mind. That is the real problem for people. That's all. Rational mind will not allow. And we cannot change somebody else. We can only change ourselves. That's all. Once we change, slowly people around us will change. That's all. So Jasbir is getting more and more anxious. My personal advice is, don't worry, do what you can. That will reach the right connection to the universe as Gaurav is doing. Definitely, it will go a long way. And as you said, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyade. That's all. People do understand all those nowadays. There are so many youngsters today. We cannot simply say system, but I am finding youngsters around are more tuned to spirituality than good old people. Thank you once again. Continue your journey. That's all. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, and very well said. So because this is what we are trying, like if everybody can pass on the message within your own family, and then the chain will continue. So that is in our
Dr. Nagendra ji, 25 years back, Vivekananda Kendra, yes, Vyasa. He's a spiritual scientist. He is like Pathari. In fact, he is doing now. How the International Yoga Day came only because of Prime Minister Modi ji of India. Same, and Nagendra ji is the person behind it. Now, what we are all talking, education policy, in fact, in India is happening. How many of you are aware? It is really happening, but because of the system, it cannot happen overnight. Whether we will see the light of the day, we don't know, but slowly it is happening. There are resistances from other people, but in spite of that, it is taking place. Every year you can see some progress. I am finding it. I am seeing so many teachers also here. I find things are changing. So no point in being pessimistic. Let us be optimistic. Thank you.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Wonderful. So, masters, if anyone has any other sharing or question, please raise hand. Otherwise, we move to the meditation. Yes, Srinaji.
Good evening, sir. In one of the slides, I think it is the penultimate slide where, our last slide, where you said if something is added to the whole remains whole, and then something is removed from the whole remains whole. What does it mean, sir? Especially the removal part.
So this is again like taken from our literature when we talk about Vedanta, which is primarily Upanishad, whether it is Brahma Sutra or Bhagavad Gita. So the way the Ishwar is explained is that we call it supreme whole. And even from this whole, whether you take whole or you add whole, it remains whole. So the way they are explaining Ishwar, of course, it is with respect to energy. And now we know all this with the Newtonian and all other Einstein and all other things that we understood, whether gravity or whether energy, that, okay, cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. So same thing now we get into the way we understand whether soul or whether we say the God. To me is the same thing, because when we are saying soul, right, Aham Brahmasmi, we are part of the universe, and that's where the whole, the wisdom of the God comes in with respect to energy. And that's what it means, that it is infinite energy. Doesn't matter how much you take, how much you add, it remains infinite. For example, like as an example, we say like an ocean. You add a drop in it or you take a drop out of it, nothing will happen to the ocean. Ocean will still remain the ocean. You may take a bucket out of it, nothing will happen to the ocean. Ocean will still remain. That's what they are referring, that it is infinite energy. We think just one as a human, or we think Earth as a planet, but not just our Milky Way. The whole universe is one single entity if you take it as one single energy entity. So it doesn't matter how much you take of it. You may think I'm taking a lot, but actually when you look at the entire energy as one, it's nothing. You're just taking a drop out of an ocean. That is the idea behind it.
Yeah, got it, sir. Jagrati ma'am is saying it is continuously expanding also.
Yes, absolutely. You are
Got it,
absolutely right. Till date it is expanding. And I don't know, Parmeshwaran sir, if Gita or otherwise, if you want to add anything in this definitions.
Same thing, the Purnamadaha Purnamidam, that is what you just explained. Same sloka which I talked along with Patanjali Yoga Sutra long back. Same, Patanjali also says Ishvara is not different. That's all. Same Ishvara concept when you talk. It's the same thing only. Or you can say individual consciousness, and what you talk about collective consciousness, then the pure consciousness. Both are same only, right? We say expansion of consciousness, etc. But really it is not expansion, it is already there, right? Even that word also, just for communicating, I think you are telling expansion of consciousness. We are part of that, right? Consciousness is only one in reality. So, but we feel separate, that's all. So once we understand, yeah, we are one, that means again going back to mind only. And we change. So we feel the oneness, that's all. So it is one and the same only in the Western concepts, etc. Some are giving credit to the Rishi Upanishadic wisdom, but all are not doing so. It doesn't matter. Like when there, he talks about even Patanjali, I think. He also like that, there are some. So that doesn't matter. It's one and the same. Only how we look at it, only our understanding. Because of our trigunas, we are not able to align the same way. Each one of us are unique when we say, right? So that means the uniqueness is, while born, we are born with nature, Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Each are different permutation combination, each of us. That is why our ability to understand also is different. And that's all. My understanding is only that much. 25 years back, quantum jump, Dr. Nagendra ji was telling, I could not understand. I was thinking only in the physical level. Today, yeah, there is a better understanding today. Yes, and you are putting it in the right way so that the mind, normal mind, can easily understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, all masters. So let's start our meditation. So we will relax and sit with our eyes closed. First, we'll slow down our brain waves, which will help us in getting into deep meditation. So let's do 7 cycles of slow breathing. If you want to do Anulom Vilom without pause, you may do that 7 cycles, which is also called alternate nostril breathing. So deep breathing means very slow exhale and very slow inhale, whatever is comfortable to you. Okay, masters. After you complete your cycle, start breathing normally. Now we'll relax our body. So relax your face, your neck, your shoulders. Relax your hands, your legs. Keep your spine straight, but absolutely relaxed. So now your brain is relaxed and your body is relaxed. Before we get into deep meditation, let's bring our affirmation in our subconscious mind. For 1 minute, imagine as if your affirmation has come true, and feel the emotions, how you would feel when your affirmation has come true. So next 1 minute, feel the emotions whether it is love, joy, blissfulness, happiness, depending on your affirmation. Feel it. Now, we'll start observing our breath as we inhale and as we exhale. So, masters, no more emotion, feeling, or any thoughts. Just start observing your breath. Stay with your breath. Connect to your inner self. Connect to your soul. Find out who you are. What is the purpose of your life? What is your soul plan? So that you can live happy and healthy. Maintain absolute normal, natural and soft breath with every inhale and every exhale. You have exchange of energy. Dear masters, let's rub our palm together. Place the finger on your eyes for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Slowly, very slowly open your eyes. Back to your normal self. Come back to your normal environment.